Welcome to Pat Gray Unleashed.
Yeah. Welcome. Traffic and weather together today, every 5 minutes on the threes. Whack, whack. 888-900-3393, Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Interesting. Wow, we got just so much to talk about. So
Good
much
stuff,
to
right?
share with
Good
you.
news.
Good news. All around. Everything's fine now. We fixed everything yesterday, so things start out great.
We start over
today.
Like
Yeah.
the slate is clean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I like that. That's a good start.
Got dirtied up pretty quickly, though. It has been, 22 hours since last we met. Ish. We did have overtime, too, so it's been a little bit less than that.
Okay, all right.
Hey, a second batch of classified documents were found among Biden's things yesterday. Don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
I'm
right?
Sure, it's totally fine.
Let's start out. Actually, let's back up a little bit and start out with KJP. She was answering some questions yesterday about Joe Biden improperly having classified documents. This was after the first batch was discovered.
Yeah.
And here's what happened when they asked, when were the documents found?
Okay.
My question was, when was the president briefed? He said he was briefed. When did that briefing happen?
Again, I'm not going to get into details. I'm not going to get beyond what the president shared yesterday.
Oh,
that was in depth right there. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. So you're not going to get into details. I see.
So we're trying to protect the president. We don't want you to know when he found out about
How well
this.
would that work with Donald Trump? Yeah, we're not going to get into those details. They would not be satisfied with that.
And just so we're clear, they were discovered before the election.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
In November.
And so here's the question. Why didn't Biden tell us when they were discovered?
But did not answer this part of the question. Why didn't he or someone in the White House inform the American people when these documents were discovered on November 2nd? Did it have anything to do, because people are asking this part of it, did it have anything to do with the fact that the election was just a few days away?
Again, Ed, this is under
course
review
it
by
did.
the Department of Justice.
No.
It is literally under review right now. As I am talking to you, it is under review. So I'm not going to get beyond the process. I'm not going to get beyond what the president said.
Okay. Yeah. We're gonna get somewhere with KJP today. I can tell.
Are there more documents? She was asked.
Uh-oh. I bet she had a good answer.
The position you're holding right now, there are no assurances you can provide at this point that there are no other classified documents out there in any other office.
Look.
Again, this is an ongoing process.
Again, it's an
So I'm gonna
ongoing
let the
process.
Continue. It is being reviewed by the Department of Justice.
Even
and
as
I'm just gonna
right
leave it there.
now, it's being reviewed.
Yeah.
Even as we're speaking right now, it is being reviewed.
She has to hate her job. Especially after what you said at the top of the show. How they've found even more. How's she going to go to work today and do this?
I don't know. It'll be interesting. She'll do the same thing she did yesterday. How did the documents get there?
Ooh, I like this one.
How'd that happen?
He had a closet with
His
classified
lawyers
information in
did
it
the
that
right.
they found. How did it get
Again.
I'm not going to get ahead of the...
He was surprised that the
surprised.
records were there.
He was surprised my
spoke to this.
anus.
Personally,
Shut up.
he was surprised that the records were there.
He was surprised, shocked, stunned, I'm sure. Was he surprised about the second batch that was found? The second batch of classified documents at a different location. I wonder how surprised he was to hear about that.
How are these getting out? I mean, you could blame Hunter for a lot of stuff, but Hunter didn't get into the. Well, hell, I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe it was Hunter.
I doubt it.
Hunter probably has top secret clearance. Yeah, access to all this stuff. So what?
Yeah. Aides to President Joe Biden discovered at least one additional batch of classified documents in a location separate from the D.C. office he used after leaving the Obama administration. Since November, following the discovery of documents with classified markings in his former office, Biden aides have been searching for any additional classified materials that might be in other locations he used.
They're hot on the
sure.
case, Pat.
I'm sure, yeah. Yeah.
So they found. We have 2 batches found over the course of 3 days. So at this rate, this totally feels orchestrated by, and I mentioned this yesterday, by Democrats that don't want him to be their nominee in 2024. And now this stuff is coming out. They had to get through the election. Let's protect the Democrat Party through the election. And then on the other side, let's go. Let's start making this guy, let's force him out. Let's force him to at least not run again in 2024. And now they've got Republicans in the House that can do some of their dirty work for them and expose a lot of stuff. I think this is just going to continue to mount.
I'm not even sure if that would be a good thing if he doesn't run. He might be the one we want to run against, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm a little torn on that. I don't know.
And the political machine on the left would be like, look, we stole this for you once. We're not doing it again for this guy.
Right.
You got to give us somebody good for that cause.
It's going to be interesting to see how the mainstream media handles this today, the discovery of the second batch. Because they were all trying to excuse it, many of them anyway. We're trying to excuse it. The Coven was trying to excuse it on The View. So will it be a big deal or not? Will they say, hey, wait a minute. Okay, now this is ridiculous. What is he doing with these classified documents? He made such a big deal out of Donald Trump and how irresponsible he was. What is he now? It'll be fascinating. All right. So also yesterday we had the giant shutdown of air travel for, I don't know, a couple hours maybe.
Yeah.
In the United States.
And then I think it's still in the process of getting
sorted
to normal.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can't shut down that many flights, 3,500, and not have you be affected for days.
The first total ground stop since 9/11, which was the first time it ever happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've got terrorists and Joe Biden's administration.
Jeez.
Who have done this. Yeah.
And so it was a corrupted file? Is that what we had yesterday?
Yeah, that's
a
what we had.
corrupted file shut down everything. Wow.
Yeah. Which I think is just a nice way of saying some government employee with an FAA email address clicked on a porn link that was sent to him. That's my working theory.
That's legitimately what could have happened.
Well, that was my theory until just this moment. I see that Canada says that they experienced something similar yesterday, kind of a lower scale thing, but that it's not related to what happened in the United States.
Oh, just another amazing coincidence.
Let's go back to our original theory.
All these isolated incidents, the hacking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, somebody hacked.
Seriously, are we?
Come on,
we are just so vulnerable.
It's not related to what happened here. Come on. Okay. Everybody's air travel just got shut down. What a weird coincidence.
No, I think what Canada's saying, and I have no idea I don't have any details on this. It just came across for me. Is we got 2 separate instances of hacking, maybe? Mm-hmm. See, I guess it's kind of, I don't know. We have no idea at this point. We just know that Pete Buttigieg is at the controls, and he's going to handle this like he handled all of the ships out in the Pacific Ocean when he was chest feeding on paternal leave or something. Mm-hmm. And then we had the train situation, and now we've got this. I mean, he thought it was going to be a cush job. Whoops, sorry, Mayor Pete. Have fun.
Yeah, and he's loving the private air travel, which he loves for him, but not you. I mean, if you do it, you're evil, and you're wrong, and you're killing the planet. When he does it, it has to be done. Come on, he's a busy man. You can't expect him to take commercial flights. What's the matter with you?
He's a busy man who takes a SUV across Washington, and then when he gets one parking lot away, gets that bike out of the bag.
And he took, 4 months off for maternity leave or paternity leave or whatever they call it with them? Wow.
And that's when that chip crisis happened.
Yeah.
He's good.
Really good.
He really thought this was going to be a cakewalk job, you know.
Yeah, I think he did.
To pop up somewhere else and run for some higher office. Good luck,
Not so much. Mm-hmm. Not so much. Some interesting comments yesterday from Mexican President Obrador. One of the things he did was to thank Joe Biden yesterday. So check this out because he had some nice words for Biden.
You President Biden, you are the first president of the United States in a very long time that has not built not even 1 meter of wall. And that,
Oh, jeez.
we thank you for that, sir.
Yeah, sure. You're welcome. Not even 1 meter. So what does that mean? We haven't, it could be 100 miles, 1,000 miles. He hasn't built 1,000 miles.
Has built 1,000
Could be
miles.
an inch. I don't know. I don't know what is it. But what an absolute burn to an American
Seriously.
president. You haven't built a meter of wall, and you're the first one in, who knows how long.
So 3 feet. Thank you.
Yeah, a little over 3 feet. To not protect our southern border at all. And of course, he thanks you for that. Because for some reason, it's a good thing that Mexican citizens are sneaking across our border illegally and living here in the United States of America. What a bizarre thing to celebrate yesterday when he started bragging about the fact that 40 million Mexicans live in the United States. He said, just imagine, there are 40 million Mexicans in the United States. 40 million, including people who were born here in Mexico or who are the children of people who were born in Mexico. Obrador's proud Mexican First advocacy for ethnic Mexicans. Is that a Mexican First policy, that you're grateful and proud that 40 million Mexicans live here?
Was his
How
goal
is that Mexico first?
to make Biden look even worse on this issue?
I don't know. I'm flabbergasted by it because the guy is bragging that his country is so pathetic that a third of the present population of Mexico left his rat hole country to try to eke out an actual reasonable living for themselves here in the United States because they couldn't do it in Mexico. You're such a bad nation that can't provide for its people and have no opportunities for tens of millions of people that they have to leave and go to another nation. Can you imagine if a U.S. president bragged that, yeah, about 100 million Americans live in Canada right now? We were in such dire straits here that they had to move to Canada to make ends meet. So we're pretty proud of that.
Wow.
I mean, what a weird, bizarre thing to be proud of.
It's so weird. And it's probably a bigger number than even that.
I'll bet it is.
Did you see?
I'll bet it is.
Yeah, over the break, ICE admitted that it has no records of hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants released into the country.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Help us.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we know, but we've known that for a long time. It's
Right.
just weird to hear them admit it.
But they're saying that the federal government, they were under their control, then they released them. They're
Right.
not talking about the ones
I
that have just
know.
come across without any kind of interaction.
I
They're saying,
know.
yeah, we've had encounters with them, and we've detained them, and got all this, but we still have absolutely no information on
Yeah,
them
but some of
whatsoever.
them, Keith, pinky promised that they'd come
Okay.
back for their court date. Okay, so they got a pinky promise from them, and you know how solid that is. So we'll see how that
Those
goes.
simultaneous sniffs, I'd like to point out.
So at the summit yesterday or the day before, Biden pushed the globalist pro-immigration, pro-migration, nation of immigrants narrative, which I hate that. A nation of legal immigrants is what we have. Legal immigrants. It is not a nation of illegal immigrants. He said, look, as all of us in the United States are immigrants, mine go all the way back to the Irish famine. Yeah, so do mine, but they came here legally, and they went in the front door. They came in through Ellis Island, and they were recorded, and we knew what they were doing here, and we knew what their plan was. Biden's use of immigrant demotes the status of American citizens to that of illegal migrants because the same immigrant term is normally used by establishment outlets to promote or condone illegal migrants. He also called for the use of global labor to fill jobs in the U.S. economy, regardless of many sidelined Americans and regardless of the impact, the economic impact on ordinary Americans' wages and rents. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about that. Just keep it coming. He recently announced a plan to allow 360,000 people from 4 countries to move to the United States each year. That huge population transfer from Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Venezuela is in addition to the global flow of illegal migrants and Congress's normal inflow of roughly 1 million legal immigrants. Can you imagine that? We allow 1 million people a year to immigrate here. Legally. 1 million. And that's not enough. Not enough. Now, Biden's got to increase that by 360,000. And then we increase it by 2 million a year through illegal immigration. That's a pretty good inflow. Can we handle that indefinitely? As long as they want to come, we just keep letting them? Because eventually this is going to, it's already caught up to us, but it's going to get a lot worse. Eventually these chickens are going to come home to roost.
Yeah, one of the first things that Donald Trump said, I think in his, when he came, down the escalator and announced that he was running for president, wasn't it that speech where he was like, you either have a country or you don't?
Yeah.
You
I think
you
it
have
was that
borders
speech.
or you don't.
Yes.
That is absolutely true. If we don't have borders, we don't have a country. It's pretty simple.
Sounds like a simple statement.
Yes.
But it is.
It's a fact.
It is. You can't have a country without borders.
It's not by definition a country if you don't have borders.
Right. That's right.
It's so frustrating. It's so maddening.
You've got to protect your sovereignty. You've got to protect your interests. That has to come first. And then once you've done that, then you can welcome, others to our country. As long as you know who they are, what they plan to do here, can they do it? Will they contribute something? And that's not wrong to ask of them. What are you going to contribute to us? We should be asking that question. Because if we're just going to have to support everybody who comes here, or half of them, or a third of them, who knows how many we're going to have to just support and take on. We can't do that indefinitely.
Yeah, we're going to need export tariffs on money orders sent back to Mexico.
They should have done that a long time ago.
80%.
Holy cow, they should have done that a long time ago.
80% goes to the government. We'll send you back 20%. What? It's still, you're coming out ahead, Mexico. What's your problem?
It is Mexico's either largest source of income or second only to tourism every year. Every year since something like, the 1990s. Sending money back from illegals here is their largest source of income. So, yeah, they love it. It's great for them. They don't have to take care of the 40 million poor people who are flooding across our border. If you're a wealthy Mexican, you're not leaving and going across the desert, walking 1,000 miles, hitching a ride, hooking up with coyotes, paying them $7,000 to get you to Texas or Arizona. You're not doing that if you're middle class or upper middle class or wealthy in Mexico. So we're getting all their poor, and we're having to, support many of them. Not all of them. Some of them support themselves. But in every case, they're either committing tax evasion and fraud or identity theft and fraud. Which is it? Because they're not here legally, so they don't have papers, so they don't have social security numbers. So how are they paying income tax? Well, they're not. They're not. In most cases, they're not. It is a problem that we should have gotten a handle on a long time ago. And we just don't. It's
almost like they're trying to destroy our country.
It's almost like that.
Through their policies
isn't
and
it?
action.
Yeah, isn't it?
Huh. Almost.
All right, let me tell you about Start Mail. Free email services like Gmail and Yahoo aren't really free. You pay with your privacy, right? In fact, internet giants like Big Tech bank on exploiting your data by selling it to the highest bidder. Your business plan? Well, Google has it. Your medical records? Yahoo can sell them to drug companies. This is why I absolutely love Start Mail. because it protects your identity. It protects your inflow to your email. My Gmail account, I don't even go there anymore because it's just filled with garbage. I mean, it's unbelievable. That's why you need StartMail. StartMail keeps my email private. Every email can be encrypted, even if the recipient doesn't use encryption. When you delete an email in StartMail, it's gone forever. It's also backed by the most stringent privacy laws in the world. You get unlimited anonymous aliases. This feature protects your main email address from spam and phishing attacks. It's fantastic. Start securing your email privacy with StartMail. Sign up today. You'll get 50% off your first year. Go to startmail.com/unleashed. That's startmail with a T, START. Startmail.com/unleashed for 50% off your first year. Startmail.com/unleashed.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
And just another note on the immigration situation. We're the only nation on earth expected to put up with this. There is no one else who is expected to just take unlimited amounts of illegals crossing their border, support them, allow them to keep flowing in freely, and don't do anything about it. And then if you do something about it, like here in the United States, well then, you're a hater. You're a xenophobe. But other countries aren't burdened with that. They can protect their border because they're expected to. I mean, and that especially applies to Mexico. Remember the words of Felipe Calderon. I should play him here, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Because it's madness that we're expected to just bend over for it, but they don't have to.
No, they need to fulfill a form.
He's asked, this was years ago, by the way, but he was asked if...
Can anyone just come across the border into Mexico?
Can they just flow across the border and just stay there?
No, they need to fulfill a form.
No.
They need to establish their right name. Mm-hmm. We analyze if they have not criminal precedents.
Mm-hmm. Do Mexican police go around asking for papers of people they suspect are illegal immigrants?
Of course.
If somebody sneaks in from Nicaragua or some other country in Central America through the southern border of Mexico, they wind up in Mexico, they can go get a job, they can work.
No.
If somebody do that without permissions, we send back them.
It's one of my favorite clips of all time. No. If someone do that without permissions, we send back them. What? Wait, what? But you expect us to just welcome them with open arms.
Yeah.
And appreciate the fact that they fly the Mexican flag in our face when they're in this country. That's all good, right and good? Huh. Wonder how Mexicans would treat people who flew the American flag in Mexican neighborhoods. I bet they'd love that, right? They're open and diverse and accepting, tolerant. I'm sure they'd love it.
It's some racial profiling criteria in order to enforce the law that it's against any sense of human rights, and of course is provoking very disappointing things or very disappointing opinion in Mexico and around the world, even here in America. To introduce these kind of elements, especially racial profiling aspects that are attempting against what we consider human rights. It's the principle of discrimination, which is against the values of this great nation.
You just said it's okay for police to knock on doors in Mexico to find out if you're a legal resident.
Yeah, but in Mexico it is, but it's
America,
it's not okay here. It goes against your values doing it here. Yeah, we do that, but you guys shouldn't be doing that.
Jeez.
I mean, and we've had those policies forever between Mexico and the United States. It's just a one-sided relationship that they just continue to exploit.
This world is a clown show, man.
Calderon exploited it. Obrador's exploiting it. They love it. And nobody ever calls him on it. In fact, when Calderon was in the country and was saying these things a couple of years ago, he went to Congress and got a standing ovation.
I strongly disagree with the recently adopted law in Arizona.
Oh, yeah,
It is a law?
Yeah. Listen to that. Yeah. He's a law. He's got more. It's a law.
It is a law.
Yes.
That not only ignores a reality that cannot be erased by decree, but also introduce a terrible idea using racial profiling as a basis for law enforcement.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
So that racial profiling.
To remind you what that heinous Arizona law was.
Oh, it was heinous.
It was heinous.
You're going to probably throw up when you hear some of the details.
SB 1070. And to refresh your memory here.
Okay.
The U.S. Supreme Court, by the way, upheld this law that says that...
you mean the law?
The law. That we can check your immigration status during a law enforcement stop.
What?
Yeah. So if you have a run-in with the law, then they can check your immigration status.
I just threw up a little bit in my mouth right there because of that heinous policy. It's just sickening. It's just a human rights violation that can't be tolerated.
And feel free to check my immigration status if I have a run-in with the law. I don't care.
I don't
right? Go for it.
Yeah. In fact, on some applications and things, you have to.
Right.
You have to.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yeah. You have to declare your status.
Are you 18 or older? Don't you dare ask me my age.
I know.
Don't you dare. Don't ask me what sex I am. It can change from the time I turn in this document to when you read it.
In fact, from the time I started writing it, my status has changed.
You have
my
whiteout?
gender has changed.
You have whiteout? Because on page 1, I felt like a dude, and now I'm back here on page 3, and I'm feeling more vulnerable today.
Right. So.
I swear. I can't. This world sucks so much, man.
It's just unbelievable. It really is. It really is incredible. And, it's interesting, again, that the immigration thing has flared up again. Because, we've been talking about this for a really long time on the radio, well over 20 years. In Houston, it was the main topic almost every day.
Yeah.
Really.
But in 2023, existing in this nation is like playing whack-a-mole with it's like how many fires must we put out at the same time?
Yeah, that's really true.
Madness, man. Can we just concentrate on one front? No. Because when Marxists take over, they seek to destroy. And by doing that, they throw every kind of chaos at you at a time. And here we are.
And that's the difference between now and 20 years ago, is you could focus on immigration for a while because there weren't a million different things. Well, that kind of changed after 2001, after 9/11. And then, since then, since the Obama administration, a lot more things have changed because, as you mentioned, you got the Marxists to fight off all the time. Democrats have just become Marxists. In large measure, that's what they are. And so, yeah, you're always trying to put out a fire somewhere because they're starting them all over the place. Also, the Biden agency has refused to cite research supporting potential natural gas stove bans.
I swear.
Might be coming down the pike.
See? Another case.
Another one.
Let's see what else we can throw at these people.
Right. Now, I know when they talked to the agency, though, didn't they say, we're not trying to ban gas stoves?
Aren't you, though? That's the recommendation from this group. And then when Fox News reached out to them, like, hey, what kind of data are you going on? They're just like, oh, there's media reports. You should just look at media reports. No, I want to see some hard evidence that this is the end of the world by having this natural gas. Somebody theorized it's another way of them trying to destroy our nation because apparently that's one thing we have a lot of is natural gas. Yes.
A lot.
And so, hey, look, if we just make it so that it's verboten to actually use that, since we can't, actually stop that flow, I swear. This These Marxists, man.
Got a lot of irons in the fire. They really do. All right, 888-900-3393. More Pat Gray Unleashed coming up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Got some tweets here. Alpha7615 tweets, Dems will set the narrative that if Biden can't run because he had classified documents, then neither can Trump.
Oh, my goodness. That
Watch,
is so
it's
true.
going to happen.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that point.
Yep. Yes. Yeah, we should write that down.
So in other words, they'll say, okay, fine. He's disqualified because he has...
so is Trump.
Okay. That's what they'll do. You're absolutely right.
Fake Tyler Morgan tweets, if I had dementia and forgot that I kept classified documents, I'd be surprised when they turned up in my papers, too.
Awesome.
Boy. Is it Sons of Thunder 42. Joe built a wall around his beach house, but not on the border. We see who matters to him. Yeah, exactly. The Pickled Squirrel. Here's a fun exercise. Read the Mexican Constitution. See all the jobs that only native-born Mexicans are permitted to do. I think there's something about owning property, too, isn't there? Uh-huh. With foreigners owning property. The laws are much different. Rowdy Introvert tweets, can't the would-be immigrants looking to work in the U.S. just do so over Zoom? It was good enough for the pandemic. Should be good enough for the illegal immigration epidemic.
And by the way, regarding we weren't really hacked, and no, our government employee didn't click on a porn link to bring down air travel in America. You know how we said Canada had an unrelated issue to deal with? Jeffy sent me a text this morning that says the UK had an unrelated issue as well. And I'm looking online. I don't see a travel issue. I see that their postal service was hacked. So I don't know. But I'm sure it's just another isolated incident, right?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, of course. Of course. Did you see the fake doctor story on Twitter? That, the doctors, there's been 4 of them at least that they just found that have been tweeting about COVID restrictions and how great they are, and we need to socially distance, and we need to be careful, and we need to be masked up, and we need the lockdowns, and it has to happen. Plus, last month, this Twitter doctor, Dr. Robert Honeyman, lost their sister because those are apparently Dr. Robert Honeyman's pronouns.
Oh, okay.
They, them.
Okay,
they, them.
it.
Okay, so they lost their sister to COVID. They wrote about it on Twitter and received dozens of condolences, 4,000 retweets, 43,000 likes. Exactly 1 month later, on December 12th, Honeyman wrote that another tragedy had befallen their family. Sad to announce that my husband has entered into a coma after being in the hospital with COVID. So his sister just died.
Okay.
Now their sister just died.
Thank you.
Now their husband is in a coma. The doctor is unsure if he'll come out.
That's not good.
This year has been the toughest of my life, losing my sister to this virus. This is the first time in my life I don't see light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh.
Again, the condolences and well wishes. And yeah, the one problem was Honeyman isn't real, not an actual person. The transgender doctor of sociology and feminist studies with a keen interest in poetry who used they, them pronouns was in fact a stock photo described on Deposit Photos as a royalty-free image site, and he is described in that as a smiling, happy, handsome Latino man outside. So he's outside in the picture with the headshot portrait. That's Dr. Honeyman.
They are so desperate for this narrative.
Desperate.
Yeah. That's, wow.
The supposedly comatose husband, Dr. Patrick C. Honeyman, also fake, of course.
Wait, 2 doctors that are married?
Yeah, they're both.
Wow.
They were both doctors.
2 incomes.
Yeah.
No kids. 2 doctors' incomes.
Probably doing really well.
Right.
But then COVID ravages their family.
Sure. Yeah.
So
that's tragic.
I hate to see that.
Who was behind this? Do we know?
We don't know. Yeah, we don't.
I want IP addresses, and I want them now.
I would love to find out. The two fake doctors whose accounts urged extreme caution about COVID were part of a network of at least 4 fake accounts that touted their ties to the LGBTQ plus community.
I got it.
Vocally advocated for mask wearing and social distancing and dished out criticism to those they felt were not taking the pandemic seriously. The Honeymans couldn't be reached for comment because they don't exist.
Well, yeah, one of them's dead anyway.
Right.
So there's that.
Well, the Honeyman sister.
Oh,
the other guy was in a coma. So
I misunderstood. I thought. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. The second Dr. Honeyman still has a chance to pull out of it.
Yes, he could still make it. We don't know.
Well, we're rooting for them.
So this was uncovered by Joshua Trainin, a self-described gay writer pursuing a Master's of Fine Arts at Bennington College. He saw Robert Honeyman's tweet about their husband being in a coma, noticed people he followed also followed them, and then thought that, well, okay, they must be part of the LGBTQ plus academic community. Took him about 10 minutes of Googling before finding out that they were made up.
Sure.
That they weren't real.
Right.
That they were using stock photos.
Unbelievable.
And it was a scam. How many times have we been scammed on Twitter with this kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if it's not
all the time
election-related or some sort of server farm or whatever in a foreign country. I'm telling you, this great work by this, you said this gay writer who got to the bottom of this.
Nice job.
Okay, now here's your second semester assignment there. It's find out who's behind this, because I guarantee you trace that back and it's a government office.
That's what I was thinking too.
I will put money on this.
Yeah. It's somebody in the administration, and they've probably been tasked with, doing this kind of stuff to keep people freaked out about COVID-19 so that they can push the masking again.
I mean, the White House had a COVID censorship machine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what they did. How many people lost their lives because of posts that were taken down at the direction of this administration? I mean, we've as a people, American citizens, from our own government, we've been under attack now for years with this stuff.
Yep.
I mean,
we have.
It's seriously, if it's not physically, it's emotionally, economically, socially. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have come at us from all angles on this, and then they shut us down. They silence us when we dare speak out against this stuff that's happening to us, and that if we're forced to take a vaccine to keep our jobs, how dare you even question this vaccine? And oh my gosh, the stuff we have on the docket for today. This house of cards is about to crumble. 2023 is going to be a watershed year for this nation. This stuff is falling apart, and God bless the families that have dealt with severe injury. Remember Maddie DeGarry, who volunteered herself, and now she lives her life with a feeding tube and can't use her legs. I mean, that's just one example of so many that have been affected if they've even survived this thing. And you dare not talk about it, dare not question it. This thing's coming undone quickly, I feel. Well, I don't know what's on the other side, though. That's the problem.
I know. That's the thing. But there's another high school senior in every day.
Every day, man.
Every day we have multiple stories like this. High school senior dies of cardiac arrest after being found unresponsive in the bathroom after gym class. A high school senior. So what, 17, 18? Oh, he's 18. Jordan Brister. There he is.
Oh, man.
Died Sunday after suffering a cardiac arrest on January 3rd during the school day at Amplis Academy in Las Vegas. He was found unresponsive in the school bathroom after attending gym class. Jeez. Lacey Cowley, a friend of Brister's family, who set up a GoFundMe page to help with funeral expenses, wrote that Brister suddenly and unexpectedly suffered cardiac arrest while at school with no explanation as to why.
Right after gym class.
Words cannot express what the Brister family is going through, and there will never be enough answers as to why this has happened. He was an amazing kid who loved life to the fullest. had plans of joining the military after graduating from high school. You know what's interesting is that we've had story after story. Not one of them has even mentioned the vaccine, which is surprising to me. Why aren't you even bringing it up? I mean, as a possibility. Why don't you even consider the possibility? Put some pressure on the CDC, the Biden administration. Let's put some pressure on them to explain this stuff.
These families know. These families know, and there are families that are a part of trying to get this truth out there to seek justice for their loved ones. And I think that those kind of groups, sadly, are going to be growing in number as more and more families are affected by this and joining those ranks.
Then we have this grandfather posted a picture of his granddaughter on Facebook saying Taylor Woolston passed away in her sleep recently.
So young.
Another cardiac event?
Yeah. I just...
Dang it. You know, 16-year-olds don't just die in their sleep. That just hasn't been a thing until recently. There's something going on. There's something that's just not right about this situation.
Yeah,
Don't look into it, though. Don't look into it.
16 years old.
Yeah, 16. The other kid was 18. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I remember on Monday we came in here and we had all these stories, and you and I were talking before the show, and I was going through a list of names that I had, and you had separate people that I hadn't heard of that died suddenly, that were young, and I think I said something like, man, it's almost like we need a segment every day to deal with this, to go through these names. And in fact, I saw this story. There's an NFL lineman now questioning the vaccine. I need to, let's see. NFL lineman suggests COVID vaccines to blame after college player. Remember the guy at Old Dominion over the weekend who collapsed?
Yeah.
And
he survived.
He survived, yep.
But he collapsed on the court.
Yeah. And I don't have the name of it. DeMarcus Walker of the Titans. He said, okay, so he responded to this news about the kid falling on Twitter, and he said, it got to be these vaccines. So good. You know what? You need more people because for years now, it's been those of us on the right and talk radio, right, that have been putting up the warning flags. You got to get other parts of society speaking out against
when this keeps going on. When this keeps happening over and over and over and over and over, and you're going to have more in the NFL. Yeah. And then is somebody going to address it then? I mean, you had Damar Hamlin, who fortunately, thankfully, survived his ordeal, and they sent him from Cincinnati back to Buffalo. He was healthy enough to go to a hospital in Buffalo, so he's closer to home now.
Well, he was released from the hospital yesterday in Buffalo.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Good. So not only is he out of the hospital in Cincinnati, but he's released in Buffalo as well.
That's great.
Oh, that's great.
I love me some Damar Hamlin good news updates, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, like I said, man, I don't know. A year from now, what does this nation look like, especially if this keeps happening?
If it keeps happening, they're going to have to admit something's going on.
Well, I think the early stages of finger pointing began yesterday with the FDA folks that
the vaccine advisors, disappointed and angry that early data about the new COVID-19 booster shot wasn't presented for review last year.
So they approved the booster, but they're like, man, y'all didn't give us enough data, so shame on you. I'm angry and frustrated.
They're pissed at Moderna because they didn't present a set of infection data on the company's new COVID-19 booster during meetings last year when the advisors discussed whether the shot should be authorized. Okay, well, it has been. That data suggested the possibility that the updated booster might not be any more effective at preventing COVID-19 infections than the original shot.
What?
It's exactly what we've found since they started doing the third and the fourth booster shots. The data was early and had many limitations, but several advisors told CNN that they were concerned about a lack of transparency. U.S. taxpayers spent nearly $5 billion on the new booster, which has been given to more than 48.2 million people in the U.S. Pfizer has updated their information, I guess, now. FDA authorizes Pfizer and Moderna.
Oh, that's the other thing. These panels, because you remember there were all of these I used to get these notifications when they were going, okay, so are we going to approve it for this age group? We're going to approve it for this one. I remember getting this notification over and over again, like, oh, the panel has agreed to, and then the FDA would make it official. Yes, give it to infants, as young as 6 months old. Only Western nation to do that, by the way. And I was like, who are these? I didn't have enough, I guess, curiosity at the time to think, who's on this panel, right? These panels that are approving these or their recommendations. And I saw this video. There was a court case it's happening right now, and the attorney was pressing this lady, and that was her gig. Like, she was an advisor. She was on these panels, and she was a former employee of Pfizer. Okay? So you're independent, because that's what the lawyer kept pushing, like, okay, so we're to believe this is an independent? She's like, yeah, we're totally independent. He's like, you, as recently, I forgot how recent, we're getting paid by Pfizer. Well, I mean, that's accurate, but I'm independent. Oh my gosh. Seriously? So we've got people that worked for the big pharmaceutical companies making the recommendations to the FDA. Yep, looks good to me. I mean, it's madness. Come on, man.
Wow, Keith, when did you get so cynical?
Oh my gosh. That probably goes back to... there was this one moment when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And do you have a couch in here?
No, we don't anymore. We used to have a really cool orange couch, and we don't have it anymore.
Yeah, I got to talk to you about my dad. No.
It's impossible not to be cynical now.
Sir,
isn't it? It's impossible.
How do you... Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. My brain is exploding right now. The CIA, right? It comes out, Tucker Carlson had that, he was quoting a guy who had seen the documents that basically say, yes, the CIA killed JFK, know? I mean, just take that one singular fact alone, that your government killed a sitting president. Most likely. How do you trust anything they say to you? Under any circumstance, you can trust them with your life? You want them to run your health care after they've spent the last 2 years setting you up for, I don't know, death?
Nope.
Don't treat COVID with something that works, but definitely roll up your sleeve and take this shot that'll probably kill you.
Yeah, the ivermectin, which they knew was effective against this.
How can
it's great at being an antiviral agent.
Thank you.
Pat Gray.
Welcome to it. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. So the vaccine is great.
Yes, absolutely. It's great.
As long as you couple it with mask wearing.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, my bad.
I mean, sure, there's no study on Earth that's ever been done to find that they're effective. But that doesn't stop you from wearing them.
Yeah, but who said that? Some crazy right-winger?
Dr. Jha.
Who's that
said
guy?
that. He's with the Biden administration.
There's no study in the world that shows that masks work that well.
Job, Kayla.
So you're never going to get the kind of benefit from mandatory year-round masking as you would from making substantial improvements in indoor air.
All right, thank you. Dr. Ashish Jha, thank you. The White House, put that up again if you would, for just a second there. And
he's the COVID-19 advisor.
Biden administration, White House TOD COVID advisor.
He's the top COVID advisor. Yeah, so he's running the show there with
COVID advisor
for Joe Biden and his administration. If you're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and you have a child enrolled in school there, and they're forced to wear masks over the next 2 weeks, this might be your signal to finally pull your kid out and try homeschooling. I mean, you seriously want to go down this road with that? By the way, what was it? How was it? 1 million? I forgot what the number was, but it was just huge, massive amount of American families who have now switched to homeschooling. since the pandemic.
Oh, it's, yeah.
And you know,
bet it's more than that.
Yeah. This is a great opportunity, not only to get them away from these COVID restrictions and wearing masks again in places like Ann Arbor, get them out from this CRT and this trans insanity. I was just thinking the other day, you know, your homeschool parents or those that are considering it, maybe you're worried that you can't handle math, or, you know, I don't know how to teach my kid math, or whatever. You know, it's like God didn't put your kids in your care to make sure they could do a quadratic equation. He put them under your care so you could protect their souls. So, you know what? Even if they stare at a wall all day, they're going to come out ahead compared to where they are in a public school. Come on now.
And listen to this statistic, just to put a fine point on the exclamation mark. There's a new poll that shows a staggeringly low percentage of adults in the Gen Z generation. Why? Public school. Who express pride in being Americans. You know what the percentage is? 16% of Gen Z kids are proud of being Americans. 16%.
That's a devastating number.
All-time low. By far an all-time low. Now, this is a huge leftist accomplishment. It certainly isn't the right preaching anti-American propaganda to our kids. It's leftists in the school system. They teach all the negatives from American history without putting anything into context for them. They focus on our imperfections and our mistakes without any balance or, again, teaching how and why these things happened. And not only how and why, but who did it? Who did it? Who's responsible for the things that happened? Leftists! Every single thing that they scream about, cry about, agonize over, it's all leftists. All of it. Slavery? Democrats. It was Republicans and Christians who finally put an end to it in this country. It was Democrats, it was leftists who kept it going so long. The civil rights being squashed in the South, Democrats, leftists. The fight against civil rights in the 1950s, all the way to 1964, Democrats, leftists. I mean, every ill in our society pretty much comes right down to that. It's not the right doing it. So anyway, this is why it's happening. By contrast, so you got 16% from Gen Z, Generation X and baby boomers overwhelmingly expressed pride in America. 54% for Generation X, should be higher than that. 73% for baby boomers, should be higher than that. But, I mean, from 73 and 54% down to 16%, that's incredible. It's incredible. And it's because of what they're being taught about America in schools. And by Hollywood, for that matter. But speaking of the lack of transparency, as we were with the vaccines a minute ago, a Pfizer whistleblower sat down with Project Veritas and had some pretty interesting things to say. Check this out.
I work at a pharmaceutical company. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I just believe in research and science.
In this database, you came across a chain of emails discussing fetal tissue and the COVID vaccine. Vanessa Gelman, who works in Washington, D.C., is Senior Director of Worldwide Research. The question came up as an inquiry to our MedInfo group. They're asking, quote, did Pfizer make use of a cell line from an aborted fetus?
They want you to leave out the highlighted part, which is the one or more cell lines with an origin that can be traced back to human fetal tissue has been used in laboratory tests associated with the vaccine program.
And here we have your badge. You are an employee of Pfizer?
I work at the McPherson, Kansas plant. It's one of the biggest plants in the operation of Pfizer. We produce some of the most units.
This message from Vanessa Gilman.
From the perspective of corporate affairs, we want to avoid having the information on the fetal cell lines floating out there. We believe that the risk of communicating this right now outweighs any potential benefit that we could see, particularly with general members of the public who may take this information and use it in ways we may not want it out there. We have not received any questions from policymakers or media on this issue in the last few weeks, so we want to avoid raising this if possible.
Wow. We believe that the risk of communicating this right now outweighs any potential benefit we could see. They ought to put that on American currency.
That's a good point. Oh, gosh.
And she's doing this right out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even, undercover stuff from Project Veritas.
I'm telling you, man, it's a house of cards.
It's coming down. Yeah, it's starting to crumble. We're starting to see how we've ended up at the place we are right now. And it's because of Pfizer and Moderna's secrecy about this stuff.
Well, yeah. And with
they knew better than this.
Willing accomplices in the U.S. federal government. Making sure that the message is loud and clear and that any opposing message is silenced immediately online.
So there's that. And then somebody sent us this clip of a Dr. Ryan Cole discussing concerns for pregnant women.
Yeah, remember how they made pregnant women? Remember all these women early on were saying, "Hey, my cycle's being affected. What's going on here?"
Oh, that's silly.
Oh, it was. I mean,
that's ridiculous.
They were ripped to shreds. How could you even say that? No, not a chance. Yeah, and then all these. We had the stats on miscarriages. It was so heartbreaking. And now check this.
Corporate interest, you bet. So if you follow the money instead of what should have been done for humanity, there should have been, as you may have heard me say today on stage, truth plus transparency equals trust. Did we get the truth from any of these companies?
No.
No. Were they transparent? Were our government agencies transparent? Absolutely not. Now that we see that data rolling out, where's our level of trust? We see how much they lied to us in the truth and the transparency category. And what they're doing is they're destroying the public's trust, not only now, but into the future of these types of agencies. This all needs to change. Any medical product, any vaccine needs an independent outside review board that has no government interest and no industry interest to be the truth teller from the outside looking in, an independent, non-biased third party. That didn't happen here. Why do they say, oh gosh, we thought it was safe for pregnant women? Pfizer's data already said on page 67, bottom of the page, it says, don't have skin contact with, don't be in the same room with, essentially don't breathe. If you've been vaccinated, avoid a pregnant woman for a month. I mean, their data said it. They knew it, very buried in their long application, but they knew there were risks to pregnant women.
Wow.
And yet they pushed forward this narrative of, a shot in every arm, go for it.
If you've been vaccinated, stay away from a pregnant woman for a month.
Boy, that really...
Obviously, the spike protein.
Lends credence to spike protein. Another thing they said, look at your tinfoil hat.
Wow.
Jeffy, do the show from Zoom from home tomorrow. I'm just kidding. I mean, seriously, though.
Man.
And that's also a failure. First of all, that's Pfizer bearing the information and saying, look, you know what? You're just going to have to get it out of us. We're not going to come out here and just, have a press conference warning pregnant women about that.
That's why they wanted to wait 75 years before any of this was released.
That and shame on our elected officials who never called them on this. Instead, just a couple of them here and there, but for the most part, folks have been out on social media, like screaming in the wilderness, hey, look over here. Oh, shut that account down. It's
incredible. This is really incredible. Let's go to Pamela in Oklahoma. Hey, Pamela, you're on the Blaze.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Yes, we moved from Massachusetts to Oklahoma. And Massachusetts does not like homeschooling. It's one of the strictest states for homeschooling.
Yeah, I bet. Did you? Were you trying to homeschool in Massachusetts?
Yes, we were.
And what do they do? Do they have to see your work and all that?
Oh, you can't do like homeschool. It has to be like an online homeschool. They want your kids to be still vaccinated. It's awful.
And so things are better in Oklahoma then?
Yes, we love it in Oklahoma.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Pamela. There are a lot of states that are friendly towards homeschooling. And then there are some that, are kind of ambivalent about it. They're okay with it, sort of, but they don't really appreciate it. And you can't use our facilities if you're going to do that. Texas is among those. You're paying the taxes, the incredibly high property tax that goes to the schools, but you can't use any of the extracurricular activities.
Yeah, and just be careful.
Pisses me off.
They try to...
yeah, I know. Be careful what you wish for, because then they'll start, getting into your business.
Yeah, you can use our facility, but we're just going to need you to show us your kids' test grades and have them...
Right.
Okay.
Which we had to do when we first started in Maryland, in Baltimore, that you had to show the state your work. You had to meet with them once a year. And then you had to show them your curriculum, tell them what you're doing. Here's the test scores. Here's what the kids are doing. And then they go over all that. Well, it's none of your business.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing to give you access to these facilities, too, now. I mean, it's... it's just...
I know.
I love paying taxes, though, myself.
Yeah,
I'm so
That's
patriotic.
great.
I love paying into a system that I don't use.
Speaking of which... speaking of taxes, did you see that the Republicans proposed a bill that would eliminate the IRS and the national income tax?
They proposed a bill, did they?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because they know it won't pass.
Exactly.
In the Senate.
I'm telling
Let's
you, man.
see if they do this in 2 years if we get the Senate back.
That's all I've been thinking of this
then
last
you
week.
do it.
That's what I've been thinking of this whole week. Thinking, man, there's some really great stuff. Remember when you had the presidency, the House, and the Senate?
And you could have done any of that?
So...
Well, we've got new people now, so we'll do that now. Will you? Uh-huh. Let's see. In 2024, it's going to be fascinating to see if they bring this up again. Because it's not going to pass the House. It's not going to pass the Senate. And it won't go into law. So let's see what happens in 2 years.
Yeah, we got the House resolution. I don't know where that stands. I forgot how much money it was. Was it $10 million? I don't know. But it was. It's going to be a bust. They want a bust of... in the Capitol of guess who? Guess who? Who would you think that I'd be sitting over here pissed off that they're thinking about funding a bust of one individual right now? Oh, here it is. How much is it? Let's see here. It doesn't say. Well, anyway, it's Vladimir Zelensky at the U.S. Capitol.
What?
Resolved that the House of Representatives directs a Fine Arts Board to obtain a bust of the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, for display in a suitable permanent location in the House of Representatives wing of the United States Capitol.
Gotta be kidding me.
I forget how many millions it was, because it wasn't cheap. And
unreal.
I don't think it's passed yet.
It better
not. I don't know where that stands.
It better not.
I know. Help us, man. What is up?
Unreal. All right, let me tell you about Tommy John. Best underwear you can possibly put on. Best loungewear you can ever put on. You're going to love this stuff. We certainly do. Winter mornings can be brutal. So here's my tip for tackling the day in comfort. Grab new Tommy John loungewear, and you'll be cozy wherever you go. So
Seriously.
Comfortable. So soft and
that's the
so
thing. That's the thing. You talk about how it's helpful on cold winter mornings. I'm telling you, you go around in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what season it is. They are so comfortable.
Really true. Tommy John loungewear, pajamas, and underwear have dozens of comfort innovations. The luxuriously soft tri-blend and micro-modal fabrics with four-way stretch. I mean,
the good stuff.
Just so comfortable. I love it. And I really think you will too. Get 20% off right now. Get 20% off your first order at TommyJohn.com/unleashed. 20% off right now. TommyJohn.com/unleashed. See the site for details.
Pat Gray Unleashed. We'll be right back after this.
Got some tweets here. Vax-insured honeybee.
Wait.
Tweets.
Vax-injured?
Oh, yeah, not insured.
Yeah.
That would be stupid.
Oh, I wonder if there's going to be a new
Vax-injured
market for
honeybee.
that. You know, I don't
honeybees that are injured by the vaccine?
No. You said insured at first?
Yeah.
There's going to be special insurance for, I don't know, just...
For bees?
No, not for bees, for humans. This world is about to be flipped upside down.
Yeah. Only 16% of Gen Z having pride in America makes sense to me. The left hates America by default, and the right hates what the left has turned America into. I'm actually kind of shocked the number is that high. Let's see. Unsecured classified giblets. Parents applying for permission to homeschool should use the Common Core standard. Sure, it's wrong, but here's my work.
Yes. It's genius. I like it.
All right, let's go to Jessica in Massachusetts. Hey, Jessica, you're on the Blaze.
Hi. I homeschooled my children in Massachusetts. I don't know if the law's changed in a year because my daughter just finished and is going for her GED actually today. But Massachusetts really isn't that difficult to homeschool. I don't know if it's different by counties or something, but I literally had to just inform the superintendent I was homeschooling. They asked you to keep your work, and that's it. And if they want to see it, you have to provide it. That was the only issues that I had to deal with Massachusetts.
You've never had to show it to them, though?
No, never. They never asked to see it. And I literally moved from Massachusetts, came back, and COVID started. So my kids we came back, and I hadn't gotten them back into school yet. COVID started, and I was just like, well, they're not doing anything, so I'm just going to homeschool you. And I had to go to the district later on to get a permit for my daughter to work, and nobody said anything. There wasn't even any issue, and I never even informed them.
Wow.
So I'm not sure.
That's encouraging.
But people say all the time that Massachusetts is so hard, and half the time the things they say are never had to deal with.
Are you in Western Massachusetts? What side of Massachusetts?
I am in Central Mass, Worcester County. So
you might have something to your theory about it being county by county then.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the state. I'm moving in 2 months to Florida. I mean, the state has a lot of issues, but
wait, you just told us how
great
it was. Yeah, well, good luck.
So you're going to Florida where there's no state income tax.
Yes. No state income tax, nice weather, and way more work for construction, which my husband is in. So.
Yeah. All right. Well,
and
good
just
luck.
A side note.
Yeah.
Daylight saving times is way better than standard time.
Oh, I disagree.
Well, well, when it gets dark at 4 o'clock where you live, it really stinks.
Well, yeah, I kind of like that, but I'm from the north, and that's what I was used to growing up. So, but you're going to win that argument anyway. That's probably what they're going to do is stick with standard time or daylight savings time. I think they're going to go daylight savings forever. But
I hope so.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Jessica. But that's supposed to come up, I think, in March. Although, did the Senate pass it? I don't think the Senate did.
I'm so confused.
One of the houses did not pass it.
Well, it was Marco Rubio's bill, so it must have gone through the Senate first.
Yeah, okay. Maybe it's the House that hasn't passed it.
Where do we stand on that?
I don't know, because I think that the law was that they're going to stay with daylight savings year-round. But somebody didn't pass it. I think that's
so. That means
deal.
It's going to stay bright. We're going to have the summertime sunlight rules. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
So people like you and I who are trying to go to bed, why is it so bright outside? Turn off the light.
Right.
Oh, no.
Yep. Year-round. Year-round. With no going back. Now, that could happen this spring, but I don't think it's going to.
Well, here's an article from the Dallas Morning News, so I guarantee you the pop-up ad asking me to subscribe will come around in about 3 seconds, but it just says that the headline was, Will Congress make daylight saving permanent in 2023? With unanimous Senate passage in March of 2022, the concept was already halfway to becoming law. So, yeah, it's not a done deal.
It's only halfway to becoming law. That's the thing. So, there you go. There you have it.
Neat.
That's what I thought. Yesterday, most Democrats in the House voted against, this is incredible, an official resolution condemning the recent attacks on pro-life facilities, groups, charities. They voted against condemning them. So you're okay with them being attacked?
Look at this, man.
Is that what?
How do you not condemn this?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, look at this stuff.
Look at that.
That's all we're asking you to do is just say it's bad, okay? Just Can you go on record of saying this is not acceptable?
No, they can't. They won't. Amazing.
So Democrats voted against that yesterday, And they also voted against 210 Democrats.
Yeah, this is
so almost all of them
210 voted against the Born Alive bill that would force healthcare providers to provide care to babies who were born alive.
So I'm sure they had
during
good
a failed
reasons.
abortion.
They had good reasons, right?
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh.
They don't. No, they don't. But here's, I guess, Jerry Nadler's reasoning for voting against it.
Oh, Nadler.
The problem with this bill is not that it makes anything, that it is not that it provides any new protections for infants. The problem with this bill is that it endangers some infants by stating that that infant must immediately be brought to the hospital.
What the
where,
hell?
Depending on the circumstances, that may be the right thing to do for
Makes
the
no sense.
health and survival of that infant,
What
or
are you
it may
talking about?
That is the problem with this bill. It directs
That's
and
that
mandates
is absurd.
a certain medical care
It doesn't even
which
make
may not
sense.
be appropriate,
You
which
hear
may
this?
be endanger the life of an infant in certain circumstances.
Why do you
That's why
care?
we oppose this bill. Not
You
That's
wanted the baby to
absolutely
die
bizarre.
anyway.
Absolutely bizarre.
Oh.
There's absolutely no reason not to render medical care to a baby who's born alive during an abortion.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
There's no reason for that. That is unbelievable. It's just that they're death ghouls.
Yes, that's exactly what they are.
It's a death cult. They're ghouls, and death ghouls is just a good phrase for them. Because that's exactly what they are. They don't make sense. They just enjoy death of babies.
This is Pat Gray.
Welcome. Pat Gray Unleashed, 888-900-3393. Also, Pat Unleashed on Twitter. We want to spend a little more time going over what in the world it was Jerry Nadler was trying to say about the Born Alive bill. This is like if you've taken a pill, one of the abortion pills, RU-486, and it somehow doesn't kill the fetus, and the baby is born alive. Should you administer medical care to that baby? Because sometimes they don't.
So wait, RU-486, that's early on though, right? I mean, that's like, isn't that the morning after pill?
Yeah, but I think it can happen later.
Because the reason I'm asking is, in most cases, right, if you're going in for an abortion, it's with an abortion provider, right?
Yeah.
If the baby's going to be at the point where it's viable and can live, right? At that point, you've gone to a, quote, medical professional that should have the means and the ability to care for that child if put in that position.
Should, you would think. I mean, yeah, if the baby's going to be born alive, it has to be, I think they've lived at 21 weeks. Is it 21? 20 or 21 weeks, I think, is the youngest that has been born alive. But why would you not?
Right.
Why would you not support providing that baby with medical care? Because the my body, my choice stuff is completely moot at that point.
21 weeks, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense because there's no reason not to care for the baby and then put it up for adoption.
Yeah, and the
why would you not? I don't even understand.
I wouldn't even call it mental gymnastics that Democratic representatives were performing yesterday. It's just their arguments were just incoherent.
Yeah. Play what Nadler said again. It's bizarre.
The problem with this bill,
taking care of kids that
is
are born
not
alive,
that it makes anything, that it is not that it provides any new protections for infants. The problem with this bill is that it endangers some infants by stating that that infant must immediately be brought to the hospital, where, depending on the circumstances, that may be the right thing to do for the health and survival of that infant.
What?
Or it may not.
Pause it for a second.
That is
Why,
the problem with
if you
this
take a baby to a hospital, how is that the wrong thing to do? Why would that be the wrong thing? What, are they going to kill the baby at the hospital? That's asinine. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
First of all, if you're giving birth to a baby that is viable, you're probably not at home to begin with, right? You're at the hospital.
And at that point, we're not talking about is abortion legal or should it be legal or illegal. We're saying, okay,
has nothing to do with that.
The baby survived it.
Right.
Now you're compelled to care for it. Oh my gosh, that's so bad.
weird.
It is so weird. And how dare you think a hospital is the best place for the child? I swear, these people make no sense.
What are you talking about?
We are literally speaking two different languages in this nation.
So a baby shows up at the hospital and they're like, well, what are we going to do with that, Bob? I don't know, Bill. You kill it? What would happen if you send it to the hospital?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Congressman Schakowsky was also stating some kind of bizarre...
I don't understand any of these people.
...reasoning behind not voting for this bill as well.
Let's see what she said.
Here's what she said.
But the law that you have provided on the Republican side actually can create more harm. It requires immediately taking a struggling baby to a hospital. That hospital could be hours away and could be detrimental to the life of that baby. This is nothing more than the part of the effort to make abortion illegal nationally in this country.
No, it has nothing okay.
And I
can't listen to any more garbage. It has nothing to do with abortion. You've already tried the abortion, didn't work. The baby's born alive. So now abortion's out the window.
Yeah.
Because the baby is outside the mother now. Now the baby is a separate entity.
I just don't understand the reasoning at all.
It was inside the womb too, but I don't, yeah. It might be hours away.
What is that?
I don't know. Where would you be? So you're like in a field. You're giving birth in a field in Iowa? Or that's probably not remote enough. Iowa's not remote enough to be hours and hours away from a hospital.
Their hypotheticals are just so irrelevant.
If you left, and couldn't you address that in the bill? Like if you're too far from a hospital and you've got a doctor on scene or somebody can take care of the baby, please do it there. Could you not do that if you're not within 2 hours of a hospital? I think you could make some provisions for that.
Well, Full Pants Nadler just said, that could be doing more harm if you take it to a hospital. I don't understand what they're even trying to say.
I don't
I honestly, I do try to, I believe it or not, I do try to see it from their perspective on issues like this. And I usually just come up completely short,
but especially on this one.
But this one, I'm
bizarre.
like, I can't even see the other end of the argument. Whatever, man. These people help us.
The worst.
Yeah.
They're just a death cult. That's what they are.
Yep.
And if they can't kill the baby, they're just not happy. Right. I think they're proving this right now.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it got shot down, right? It did not pass?
Oh, it passed.
It did pass.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's just got
it just had 210 Democrats vote against it.
So how many Democrats would that be for? 3? Is that where we're at, I think? Isn't that the number?
Were there that many?
There were a few, I think, that voted for it.
How about that?
Yeah, let's see here.
Jeez. So it's going to go to the House, though. The Senate. It's going to go from the House to the Senate.
That's just it. It's not like Chuck Schumer's going to go, oh, yeah, we're totally going to get to the Born Alive bill over here. And this is what is so frustrating. I'm not trying to diminish the fact that I'm glad that the Republican Party is in charge of the House of Representatives. But it's just when we score these victories, these pro-life, smaller government victories, it's just neat.
It's meaningless because the Senate's not going to do anything.
Because when you guys had the presidency, the House, and the Senate, you weren't nearly as bold, which is exactly why those 20 individuals stood up and said no.
And when they didn't have both the Senate and the House, do you remember how bold they were about Obamacare? Oh, we're going to stop Obama. We voted 63 times against it. And then when they had total control of Congress, they did nothing.
Yeah, and actually, and if you recall, it came down to that late night vote, and one Republican made the difference. His name was
John McCain.
John McCain. The famous video on C-SPAN of him going, boom, thumb down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that he was using Obamacare in his last days.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no question about that. Jeez. All right. 888-900-3393. Also, I don't know that we've spent enough time on the $54 million in Chinese gifts that have been donated to the Biden Center at the University of Pennsylvania. $54 million from China going to that center. Why? Does anybody find that unusual?
Sounds like a front.
Interesting? Problematic? Yeah, it does sound like a front. And again, for the millionth time, if it was Donald Trump receiving money from Russia or China, can you imagine the outcry there would be? But in this case, nobody cares. I guess nobody cares. But we should care. I mean, the amount of money going to the University of Pennsylvania in foreign donations has been really pretty staggering. And I'm looking for the chart. I had a chart and I don't see it
While
now.
you're looking for that, I just remember it's $54 million in donations, 22 million
From
of those.
China.
Yeah, from China. 22 million of those were from anonymous donors, and 14.8 million, that was from one anonymous donor. There's a China Hunter Biden link there, and having these classified documents forgotten there is what may be the thread to pull to finally bring this thing down. We'll see.
And that's just it. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how invested. You're about to know. You will know in the next 6-8 weeks if how invested in Biden 2024 the Democrat Party is. To see how they defend all of these things that not only from this classified document stuff, but all of the how rigorous of a defense are they going to put up when the House of Representatives, run by Republicans, start doing these investigations?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you broke that down. The Ivy League institution, Penn, University of Pennsylvania, $15.8 million in anonymous Chinese gifts, and one $14.5 million donation in May 2018, 3 months after the center opened. That's amazing.
I'm telling you.
That is amazing.
It's a front. It is a conduit from communist China to the Biden family. I think we have found...
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
I think what this is, I think we may look back on this revelation of classified documents as almost being the tape on the door at the Watergate Hotel that ends up, bringing Nixon down and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think somebody forgot those were there years later, and that's what ends up. That's going to be. I'm looking forward to Jim Jordan talking about this specifically.
Yeah, and you might want to include Harvard in your investigation as well. If you're in the House of Reps, they got $75 million during the same period, and Yale got $43.5 million from China. All from China.
I think we're seeing what's happened to the Ivy League schools.
Right, we sure are. There's no question about that. Wow. Incredible.
Yeah. By the way, there was one Democrat that voted for that Born Alive bill.
Only one?
It was Representative Henry Cuellar of Texas. And yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then Representative Vicente Gonzalez of Texas voted present. So you got one for life and one that just said, yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, that's bizarre. That is bizarre, isn't it? Wow. You don't have the giblets to vote for that bill?
Right. And I can understand voting present to manipulate the majority need and all that stuff in the House of the Speaker of the House vote, right?
Yes.
But you're voting present on a
Born Alive
bill?
bill?
For a baby living or against? Just say yes or no.
It can't be that tough,
no,
can it?
I'm here.
Yeah.
That should be good enough.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Oh, did you see, though, that it's official that Schiff, Swalwell, and Omar off their committee seats? So that's a done deal.
It is official now.
Yeah. So that's good. And also, if you were to happen to call, I don't know if you have the picture from Monday that my daughter noticed during the Speaker of the House vote, Dan Crenshaw's bloody knuckle. If you call his office now, apparently they give a stock answer because his office has been flooded with calls about, hey, what was up with his bloody knuckle there on Friday night? His staff is telling callers that Dan, quote, punched a punching bag, end quote.
He punched a punching bag.
Bare knuckles, bro? I mean, wow, you're tough like nails, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Look at you. So there you go. I guess I'd like to know where the punching bag was. Is it in an office? Guy's got anger issues. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Let's go to Colleen in Florida. Hey, Colleen, you're on The Blaze. Hi.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Greetings from the free state of Florida.
Yeah.
I have a story. My husband and I are both in healthcare. I've been a nurse for 40 years. And when the COVID shot mandate came in for hospital employees, despite the fact that my husband already had COVID and had recorded antibodies, they were forcing him to get the shot. And about a week or so after he did, I got sick. I got a really bad case of COVID. So Dr. Cole's assessment of the vaccine shedding is actually really real. I was sick as caca.
Wow. So you think you think you got it from your husband's spike protein?
Correct.
Right.
Correct. The shedding is absolutely real. And, being a nurse, I did my own research as well. And so now we're in Florida.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We don't have anything. We don't have to deal with that. But, yeah, I got really, really sick. Missed Christmas last year with my 84-year-old parents and all.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
that's a true story, unfortunately.
Did you, so you did not get the vaccine, though, eventually, right?
No, sir.
Yeah.
No. Mm-mm.
Don't blame you.
And and he had already had the antibodies, and I was like, if this injection harms you because you've already got antibodies and they're giving you more of the spike protein, I was not going to be very happy.
Yeah. Amazing.
But yeah, it was, I did fine. I had gotten my ivermectin early. I was prepared, and I was mainlining vitamin D, so I did pretty well.
Yeah, okay.
I was sick.
So the ivermectin did help, though?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was in my late 50s at the time, so
there are a lot of doctors who would not prescribe ivermectin. Did you have any problem getting it?
No, I went to an outfit called 7 Cells, and it's basically a compounding pharmacy. It cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I was glad that I had it because of my age. I was prepared.
Yeah. Well, good for you.
Yeah. So anyway, that's our story.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Colleen. Glad it worked out for you because didn't you have trouble getting it?
Oh, yeah. There was only one pharmacy in all of Metro Dallas, and it was an hour from where I live. And now,
where you could get ivermectin?
Yeah, where you can get ivermectin filled from a doctor. But now, thankfully, as things have gotten better, there are more pharmacies that prescribe it, that will fill that prescription.
Interesting.
In Dallas-Fort Worth, to my knowledge, there are we're up to 2. We're up to 2 pharmacies now.
Oh, so things have really, doubled. It's doubled the places that will give it.
Freedom's on the march. Honestly, I think ivermectin is just part of reality now. And in my non-medically based opinion, since I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you what I think is wise for people is just to keep it on hand for the rest of your life. Okay?
Just in case,
because COVID is going to be a part of our reality.
It is.
Why not leave ivermectin on the shelf?
It is, and we see that right now with China having a ton of infections again and doing lockdowns again. And so, are we letting them fly into the country, or if they test negative, they can fly into the country? And it's gonna flare up here again. It just will. And if not this year, then some other time.
And may I just throw this out there as a tip? You might want to find a doctor because you can take it as I forgot what the word is. I don't know if it's preventative or whatever. But basically, there's a school of thought that says you should take it every day. I'm not suggesting this. I'm saying, but that is, get your prescriptions. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's reasonable. Just have it, just in case.
In a dark, cool place.
Yeah, just keep it around. And then see what happens.
And then you're ready.
Maybe you'll never have to take it.
Yeah, then you don't have to, when you feel so crappy, which COVID has kicked my butt twice. I don't want to be running around and making phone calls and having doctor's appointments. No. COVID is a part of life. No, I'm not going to test for it. If I think I have it, I'll pop an ivermectin, and you know what? I feel great. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
And they did studies now we're finding out that showed that ivermectin would be effective.
Do we have the clip? Do you want to revisit from Thursday's overtime? You remember the doctor who told us, he said, look, Fauci and everybody knew from previous COVID that this was going to be a thing.
Yeah. Do we have that guy?
The ivermectin. Do we have that? I don't know. It was last Thursday's overtime. That's all I know. And it was the ivermectin doctor who said, we totally knew this was what we needed to have ready. Anyway.
Why? Because it's an antiviral.
Right. We knew that the next time this came back around.
So when they come around and they say, well, it's horse paste. No, it isn't. We're talking about the human version of the drug, which won a Nobel Prize for medicine, by the way. And it's effective. It's been proven effective. It's an antiviral agent.
Yeah,
it kills viruses.
This clip will anger you. She's got it if you
Important thing to realize is that North American science spent 15 years figuring out what to do with the next COVID. It was back 2002, 2003, the original SARS-CoV-1 occurred. And so all sorts of experiments went on to determine what would be a useful response were something similar to occur. And the research was done. Research was all done by 2015, 2016. And DARPA, D-A-R-P-A, the American research arm of the U.S. military, it specifically knew and specifically recommended and passed the information on to the CDC that ivermectin, in particular, was the absolute #1 product to be used in the event of a coronavirus pandemic.
Oh, my gosh.
It was fully known that ivermectin, and certainly hydroxychloroquine as well, were highly antiviral and immune modulatory. And those two things were the key, to modulate the immune response, plus to be antiviral as well. Those elements were both totally proven in vitro and in vivo with animals, so that it was known. And of course, we knew it was completely safe for humans because these medications had been used for 35 to 40 years in humans. And so that's what was sitting there ready to be used at the next pandemic.
Wow.
Okay. So the other aspect of, in addition to being antiviral, it also modulated the immune response. Why was that important? Because the immune response is kicked into high gear and overdrive by COVID-19. And what happens is your immune system starts attacking your own organs. And that's why it can be so bad in some people, because it has really kicked your immune system into overdrive.
Yeah.
And what the ivermectin does is modulate that so that doesn't happen. It makes perfect sense.
The people who mocked the use of ivermectin, screamed that it was horse paste, as you pointed out, are the same people that scream, trust the science, believe the science. Well, your precious government entities right there said
DARPA
15 years ago, yay, we got to be prepared. Next time it comes around, we'll be ready. But you know what happened? The science isn't that, according to the left. The science is the opposite of whatever Donald Trump recommended. And since Donald Trump put that out there and mentioned those as treatments, oh my gosh, now we've got to go after this. And then when the Biden administration gets in office, they go full throttle online to shut down any kind of messaging about this.
Yeah, and nobody mentioned DARPA.
How many lives?
Did anybody mention DARPA research in this? No.
How many lives were lost?
Oh, man.
Because of the messaging
Way
at
too
this
many.
Biden White House that stomped this stuff out.
There's just no question.
What is going to happen to
Way
this
too
nation?
many.
I mean, there are so many families now affected by the vaccine and that didn't get the information like the ivermectin that could have saved lives. What is this nation? What's going to happen to us? I mean, this is a very tenuous time right now.
Yeah, it is. Yep. All right. Well, we got a lot more to get to.
It's gonna be fun stuff, right?
Fun.
Totally
Super fun. Yeah.
Stuff.
Everything's gonna
Animal
be fun.
videos? You up for some
in overtime? Animal videos stuff. That's fun.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.